So just a couple hours after I'm guessing I'm going to post this video, the Arrowverse will begin its biggest and hopefully best crossover yet. This crossover, it has been set up for 5 years now, ever since the first episode of The Flash, and maybe even before that with the debut of Lila Michaels. However, it's no doubt that this is the culmination of the Arrowverse, like very similarly to how Infinity War and Endgame are the culmination of the MCU. However, much like those movies not being the ending of the MCU, as there's Phase 4 and every phase going forward, the Arrowverse does not seem to be going anywhere with this culmination. The only thing that's ending is Arrow with its 8th season. After the Crisis, there's the rest of The Flash Season 6, Supergirl Season 5, Batwoman Season 1, Black Lightning Season 3, and they haven't even started Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 yet, but beyond those shows, there are seemingly 5 different Arrowverse shows that will all be debuting in the next couple years. Now, only like 3 of these have been confirmed to be a part of the Arrowverse, but the other 2 have been not only heavily speculated, but there are some rumors and people from behind the scenes, people with connections in this industry have said that it does seem like those 2 other shows will also be a part of the Arrowverse. So in this video, I will be going over all 5 of those shows and explain basically everything we know about them, but also how they will connect to the Arrowverse, and maybe even what they will add to the Arrowverse. So let's begin with what seems like the first show that will debut, which is Stargirl. Stargirl stars Brooke Bassinger as Courtney Whitmore, aka Stargirl, who in the Arrowverse is basically replacing the other version of Stargirl we saw in Legends of Tomorrow, but also before that there was another Stargirl on Smallville. It does seem like this is going to be from an alternate universe, but with the Crisis, it might be that this universe will be integrated into the main Arrowverse universe, as it's been confirmed that Stargirl, this version of Stargirl, is appearing in Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm guessing it's not going to be a very large role. It's probably going just to be a cameo, but it is possible they're going to show that universe being integrated into the main Arrowverse universe, completely retconning the previous JSA and Stargirl we saw in Legends of Tomorrow, replacing them with this current present-day JSA, which will probably be more focused, and I'm guessing also a little bit higher budget, which I don't really have a problem with that at all. Really, the only member of the JSA I liked was Obsidian, because his powers were really cool, and he had a really cool costume, but there's no reason they can't do that again. I'm just glad they're focusing on the JSA now, especially since it's in the present day. Maybe Jay Garrick from Earth 3 can have a role on this Justice Society of America, but Stargirl was originally supposed to be only on DC Universe with the likes of Titans, Doom Patrol, Young Justice Outsiders, and Swamp Thing, but I think it's because the DC Universe is not really doing as well as they expected that Stargirl will also be playing on the CW along with DC Universe. They even have a trailer out at this point, and that's why I'm talking about Stargirl first, because it's the only one that has a trailer, and it does seem like since it's debuting in early 2020, it will be the first of these new TV shows to be debuting, so it's the next new Arrowverse TV show. After Stargirl, we really don't know when all of these shows are going to debut, but the only one that has anything like a poster is Green Arrow and the Canaries. It has a comic book inspired poster showing Mia Smoke, aka the Green Arrow, Laura Lance, the Earth 2 version, aka the Black Canary, as well as Dinah Drake, aka the Black Canary. This TV show will take place in 2040, which I'm not a fan of. I would have preferred if it took place in the present day, but this is what we're getting, and it's going to be set up by Crisis on Infinite Earths, as well as probably more importantly, the penultimate episode of Arrow Season 8, which is called Green Arrow and the Canaries, and will act as a sort of backdoor pilot, and once the show actually airs, we're probably going to be able to consider this episode the last episode of Arrow, or the second to last episode of Arrow ever, as the pilot episode for Green Arrow and the Canaries. The show will be on the CW, and like I said, will star Mia Smoke, Laura Lance, and Dinah Drake, but I'm guessing we'll also have Renee Ramirez, maybe Roy Harper, and a couple other Arrow characters on the show, but one character that it might not have at all is John Diggle, who I'll get back to later in this video. But then there's Superman and Lois, which a Superman TV show starring Tyler Hoechlin has been the #1 spin-off show I've wanted to see out of the Arrowverse ever since it debuted in Season 2 of Supergirl, because I think this version of Superman is actually a very good version of the character, and we've never really gotten a proper Superman TV show where it focuses on his career as Superman. Obviously there's Smallville, but that's prior to him becoming Superman for the most part, and also everything before that that isn't animated is too old to count, so I'm definitely excited for this this TV show, which will follow Clark Kent, aka Superman, the Tyler Hoechlin version of the character, which I have to specify because there are other versions of Superman in the Arrowverse. And you can tell by the title that it won't specifically be about Superman, it'll be about Clark and Lois raising their son, John Kent, who's going to be making his debut as a baby in Crisis on Infinite Earths. And because it is focusing on Clark and Lois raising their son, John, this seems like it's going to be taking most of its inspiration from the comic book run of Superman during DC Rebirth, or at least the original one, where Clark and Lois do raise their son, John. But during this whole thing, John, as a teenager, created a close bond with Damian Wayne, aka Robin, where they created the Super Sons, and based off casting calls of young teenagers in series regular roles in the show, it seems like the show will not be focusing on John as a baby for long, and it does seem like Damian Wayne, aka Robin, maybe also this version of Batman, will be making their debuts in this show and probably having very big roles. Superman and Lois will be strictly on the CW, like Green Arrow and the Canaries, but unlike Stargirl, and it seems like it's going to debut in October 2020, which is a lot quicker than I expected, because, I mean, they just announced the show like a month ago, and that is less than a year before it's going to debut, but they said they're going to start filming in spring 2020, which was around the time, where Batwoman started filming, and then that started in October as well, so it does seem like Superman and Lois will be beginning in October 2020, and I'm guessing Green Arrow and the Canaries will be as well. Now, the next two TV shows have not, like I said, officially been confirmed to be a part of the Arrowverse, but like I said also, there are people on the inside that said that it does seem like they are, starting with Green Lantern, which will be on HBO Max, the new Warner Brothers streaming service, which also will have a very high budget, which just the fact that it'll have a high budget, which they said will be a high enough budget to make it indistinguishable from a movie, is definitely very exciting. This show will probably be focusing on multiple members of the Green Lantern Corps, probably Hal Jordan, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, and others. And you might notice I didn't say John Stewart because I was saving that for now, because John Stewart is the only one of those Lanterns who already exists in the Arrowverse in the form of David Ramsey's John Diggle. So for a minute here, I'll go over the backstory of how John Diggle became John Stewart, or at least will become, and how that maybe can fit into the Green Lantern TV show. So John Diggle debuted in Arrow Season 1's first episode as a series regular and as an original character, but because of his similarities to John Stewart, there became a fan theory that maybe he will become a Green Lantern. The similarities include his name is John, he's black, he has a military background, they have very similar personalities, and he's a vigilante already. I don't think it's like similar enough to not make John Diggle unique on his own, which is why they actually integrated him into the comic books, and he's very different from John Stewart, but there are a couple similarities, which is why the fan theory was born. And ever since Arrow Season 7, the writers have been implementing this fan theory with, in Elseworlds, the Earth 90 version of The Flash, talking to John, said that on his universe, his version of John has a ring, and the fact that he works with the Flash definitely means that it is a version of Green Lantern, and probably not John Diggle, John Stewart. Then they introduced his stepfather, Roy Stewart, who in the comics is the grandfather of John Stewart, which they could change, and they're making him the stepfather instead. But at this point, because of the story we see in Arrow Season 7 with his stepfather, he now sees his stepfather as his real father, which is why it seems like that he might be changing his name from Diggle to John Stewart. And then in Arrow Season 8, he got a new costume, which not only is green, but also glows like a Green Lantern costume, and I would say there's a very high likelihood he'll be becoming a Green Lantern in Crisis on Infinite Earths, which could lead directly into the Green Lantern TV show. If this is true and David Ramsey will be having either a main role or at least a series regular role in the Green Lantern TV show, then it seems like that show maybe have to deal with his family life, like Harbinger, as well as his son John Diggle Jr., his future adopted son Connor Hawke, and Connor Hawke's father Bronze Tiger, and that could be interesting, but I doubt that's going to happen, as the show will most likely be focusing on mainly the space adventure stuff and the Green Lantern Corps. However, maybe there will be a side story storyline here or there with Jon Stewart. But either way, I think that we can all agree probably that if this is going to happen, then David Ramsey will probably owe a lot to this fan theory, or at least he's going to get a lot out of this fan theory. If this fan theory never existed, then John Diggle either would have, I think, died a while ago, or his character would just continue into Green Arrow and the Canaries, which is a much smaller budget show, and he probably would get paid less. So this fan theory just did wonders for David Ramsey's career, and also I think John Diggle and Jon Stewart's character, if he's going to be having a role in this Arrowverse Green Lantern TV show, which if it is in the Arrowverse, there's no way he won't be. The final show is titled DC's Strange Adventures. Again, not officially confirmed to be a part of the Arrowverse, but it does seem like it is. This TV show, like Green Lantern, will be on HBO Max, and like Green Lantern, will most likely be having a higher budget than the other shows, including Superman and Lois, Green Arrow and the Canaries, and Stargirl, as HBO Max is giving a higher budget to its TV shows than DC Universe or the CW. But this show will be an anthology series, with each season focusing on a different character, with Season 1 focusing on Booster Gold, which, if this is in the Arrowverse, will be his big Arrowverse debut. We already knew he existed based on the fact that Rip Hunter existed, and unless they make a huge change from the comics, Rip Hunter is the son of Booster Gold, which means that Booster Gold has to exist, or at least John Michael Carter has to exist. But now we're finally seeing his big Arrowverse debut, which is pretty exciting. However, it doesn't seem like he's going to be sticking around for long, as he's only going to be having one season, unless the show goes the route of DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which apparently was also originally supposed to be an anthology series, but because of the success of Season 1, they just continued with those same characters. And this show also being like a very similar thing, an anthology series that it has like this weird non-DC property title that begins with DC's. Maybe they're going to do the same thing. Maybe if it turns out Booster Gold is popular enough, either he gets his own spin-off show, which I would be definitely for, or the show just turns into a Booster Gold show, which also I definitely would be for. However, if it's an anthology series, then each season can introduce another DC character, another very big DC character. Like maybe a season can focus on the New Gods, another season could focus on Justice League Dark and other magical characters, or something like that. Maybe even the Legion of Superheroes, which is something that I'm all definitely excited for, and that could complete the Arrowverse as a DC universe more than at this point it already is. So those are the 5 new TV shows that are debuting after Crisis on Infinite Earths: Stargirl, Green Arrow and the Canaries, Superman and Lois, Green Lantern, and DC's Strange Adventures. Now in terms of ranking them by how much I'm anticipating them, I would say Green Arrow and the Canaries, Stargirl, DC's Strange Adventures, Superman and Lois, and then Green Lantern. Green Lantern being a high-budget TV show, and also following David Ramsey, hopefully, as Jon Stewart, is definitely the most intriguing and most interesting to me. It definitely has the most potential. And while I was more interested in a Superman TV show previously, the fact that this will have a lower budget than Green Lantern is definitely why I'm more excited for Green Lantern. DC Strange Adventures just seems very interesting. Stargirl also has some interesting elements, and Green Arrow and the Canaries just isn't as interesting enough. The fact that it takes place in 2040, the fact that it mainly focuses on Mia Smoke, not exactly a character I love at this point. I definitely am least excited for that TV show, but I'm at least interested in all of these, excited for some of them. But let me know what your thoughts about these 5 TV shows are in the comments down below. You could tell me your ranking for how anticipated you are. You could tell me which one you're most excited, which one you're most anticipating or most interested in. And I don't know, just let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.